3 nights ago, my wife Diane pushed my hand away from the electrical outlet I was fixing in our kitchen and told me not to touch her. I looked at her in the dim light and said one word: never. Then I added, not tonight, not ever. I'm done. She scoffed and told me I was being dramatic, walked away, and left me there with my wire strippers. I didn't sleep that night. I laid there until 3 a.m., making final decisions, and by dawn, I was gone. When she woke up, the house was empty, and I'd already vanished. A week later, she got served divorce papers at her high-end real estate office in front of everyone. I'm Roy Sullivan, 58 years old. I spent 32 years as an industrial electrician before starting my own electrical contracting business. Working with complex electrical systems taught me how to trace problems methodically, document everything precisely, and never leave a job half-finished. Those exact skills work just as effectively in a dying marriage as they do troubleshooting a factory's power grid. Diane and I have been married 28 years. She's a regional sales director at Premier Insurance, one of the top performers in Cleveland, specializing in high-value commercial policies where commissions run into 6 figures. The irony isn't lost on me. She built her entire career convincing business owners they needed protection from disasters they never saw coming. She never imagined she'd wake up one morning to find her own husband had already executed his exit plan. That final night started like dozens before it. I came home around 6:30 from a commercial rewiring job, started making dinner while she worked late in her home office like always. The kitchen outlet had been acting up for weeks, typical old house wiring issue. While the pasta boiled, I grabbed my tool bag and started replacing the receptacle. Nothing fancy, just basic maintenance that any electrician does automatically. When Diane finally emerged around 9:45, I'd already eaten but kept her plate warm in the oven. She looked at it like I'd committed some offense. She told me flatly that she'd grabbed sushi with clients already, her voice completely devoid of warmth. I nodded and covered the food with foil without saying anything. She poured herself a glass of wine and scrolled through her phone, never once looking up at me. I watched her for a moment, this woman I'd loved since we were 30, and saw absolutely nothing familiar looking back at me. Everything about Diane had changed over the past few years. Her hair was different, cut shorter and styled more aggressively. Her clothes were more expensive, designer labels I never saw her wear before. Even the way she carried herself seemed designed to create distance between us. We used to talk about everything: my electrical jobs, her insurance cases, Kevin's progress in his apprenticeship, plans for retirement. Now our conversations were purely functional. The mortgage payment went through. Kevin called. "I'll be late Tuesday." Nothing personal, nothing that required us to actually see each other as human beings. The outlet sparked when I touched the wrong wire. Just a small pop, nothing dangerous if you know what you're doing. "Careful," Diane said without looking up. "Don't electrocute yourself." There was something in her tone, not concern, but annoyance that I might cause her an inconvenience, like I was a tenant she barely tolerated rather than the husband who'd shared her bed for nearly 3 decades. I finished the wiring in silence, tested the outlet with my voltage meter. Perfect connection, clean work. But when I reached over to show her it was fixed, she pushed my hand away hard. There was real force behind it, frustration and maybe disgust. She turned to face me directly, and I could see her expression clearly under the kitchen lights. Her voice was cold and measured when she said, "Don't touch me tonight, Roy." Something shifted in my chest right then. Not heartbreak. I'd felt that already 1,000 times over the past 3 years. This was different. This was absolute clarity. Like when you're troubleshooting a circuit and suddenly realize the problem isn't a loose connection or a bad breaker. The whole system is fundamentally broken and needs to be rewired from scratch. I sat down my wire strippers slowly and looked at her for a long moment. Then I said quietly, "Not ever." She blinked, confused, and said, "What?" I repeated myself. "Not ever. I'm done." Diane scoffed and shook her head. "You're being dramatic. I'm tired, that's all." But something had changed in her face, a flicker of uncertainty, like she'd just realized she might have pushed too hard. "No," I said, my voice steady as a multimeter reading. "I'm being honest for the first time in years. You don't want me to touch you? Fine, I never will again." She stared at me for several seconds, and I watched something calculate behind her eyes. The same look she got when she was working out commission structures or analyzing risk assessments. Cold, professional, distant. Then she said the words that ended our marriage completely. "Good. Because I hate you, Roy." I hate you, and I always have. The kitchen went dead silent except for the hum of the refrigerator compressor. I nodded slowly, like a technician confirming a circuit was completely dead. "Thank you," I said, "for finally being honest." She turned and walked upstairs without another word. I stood there for several minutes, staring at the perfectly functioning outlet I'd just installed, thinking about how some things can be fixed and others are just too far gone. I didn't sleep that night. I laid there in our guest bedroom, listening to her move around upstairs, watching the ceiling fan spin slowly above me. The house felt different now, not like home, but like a job site where I'd discovered faulty wiring that needed immediate attention. By 3 a.m., I'd made every decision I needed to make. By 4 a.m., I was in the garage packing a single duffel bag with essentials. By 5:15, I was dressed and standing at the front door. I didn't leave a note or take anything that could be argued over later in court. Just my personal documents, my laptop, and the clothes I was wearing. My wedding ring went in the kitchen junk drawer next to old receipts and warranty cards, the same drawer where she kept insurance forms and other documents I'd gotten her to sign over the past 18 months. Papers she'd barely glanced at because she trusted me to handle boring administrative details. That trust was about to become her biggest mistake. I walked out at dawn while Diane still slept, pulled out of the driveway in my work truck that was titled in my business name alone, and drove to a motel 35 miles outside Cleveland. I didn't feel sad or angry. I felt free for the first time in years, like I could finally breathe without someone's contempt pressing down on my chest. What Diane didn't know yet, couldn't possibly know, was that I'd been methodically preparing for this exact moment for 18 months. Not 11 months like I'd initially thought. I'd been subconsciously documenting problems much longer than I realized. Every document she signed without reading, every asset I quietly protected, every conversation I documented. She'd taught me well over the years, letting me handle all our financial paperwork while she focused on her high-pressure sales career. She just never realized I was taking detailed notes and learning from her own playbook. The motel coffee tasted like burnt rubber and regret, but I drank it anyway. Sitting on the edge of that sagging bed in a room that smelled like industrial cleaner and strangers' problems, I finally allowed myself to think clearly. My phone sat face down on the nightstand. I'd turned it back on an hour earlier but left it on silent. 23 missed calls already and 17 text messages. I didn't need to read them to know exactly what they said. "Where are you? This isn't funny. Call me now." Classic Diane, not worried about me as a person, just worried about the disruption to her carefully controlled routine. I opened my laptop and logged into the secure folder I'd been building. Everything was there, organized like a complex wiring diagram, documented and ready. But before reviewing my own preparations, I needed to check something that had been bothering me for 8 months. Not weeks like I'd told myself, but months. The first discrepancy I'd noticed was actually last December. A line item on our joint tax documents that didn't match up with our shared accounts. Diane handled most of our personal finances, claimed it was easier since she dealt with insurance paperwork all day anyway. I trusted her completely. That was my first critical mistake. I'd spent the last 8 months quietly investigating, using the same systematic approach I'd used to trace a short circuit through a building's electrical system. Start with the obvious problems, then dig deeper into the infrastructure. What I found was a separate account at a completely different bank. An account Diane had opened 7 years ago, not 5 like the recent statements suggested, in her name only, hidden from me entirely. An account she'd been steadily funding from her quarterly commission bonuses. The pattern was methodical, small amounts at first, just $500 or $800 per quarter, then larger deposits as her sales performance improved. Last year alone, she had transferred $18,000 from bonuses she'd told me went to company profit-sharing plans that didn't exist. Total hidden, $87,000 across 7 years. Insurance money for a future I apparently wasn't part of. She'd been planning her exit strategy since Kevin was 19, fresh out of high school, while I thought we were entering our golden years together. I stared at the account statements I'd obtained through methods that weren't exactly legal but were definitely thorough. The same kind of detective work I'd learned tracing electrical problems through maze-like building systems. My phone buzzed again, Diane calling for the 26th time. This time, she'd left a voicemail. I debated listening, then figured I might as well know what story she was already telling herself. Her voice came through sharp and irritated, not concerned or worried. "Roy, I don't know what kind of game you're playing, but it's not cute at all. You need to come home immediately." The Henderson commercial building needs that electrical inspection finished today, and I already promised them we'd have it done. Call me back right now. Not where are you, or are you okay, or what's wrong. Just logistics and business and the contract she needed me to complete. Classic Diane. Everything filtered through the lens of how it affected her schedule, her reputation, her carefully constructed professional image. I deleted the voicemail and pulled up the file I'd labeled Evidence. Inside were 18 months of careful documentation. Not just financial records, but something potentially more damaging. Something I'd started creating after a conversation with Carl Nelson, my best friend for 25 years, who'd pulled me aside 8 months ago and told me something that fundamentally changed everything I thought I knew. Diane had tried to seduce Carl at our company summer picnic 2 years ago. Carl hadn't told me at first, wanting to protect me, hoping it was just too much wine and stupid judgment she'd regret in the morning. But when he saw how cold things had gotten between us over time, how she treated me like furniture instead of a husband, how she spoke to me with open contempt, he couldn't stay quiet anymore. He felt I deserved to know who I was really married to. It was the company picnic at Edgewater Park, Carl had told me that day 8 months ago, both of us standing in his driveway after I'd helped him rewire his workshop. You left early because of that emergency call, the power outage at the Morrison building, remember? I remembered. A Saturday afternoon in July, temperature pushing 90 degrees, and half the downtown district lost power because of a transformer failure. I'd spent 6 hours in a sweltering electrical vault, tracing circuits and replacing blown fuses while my family enjoyed cold beer and barbecue at the lake. Diane stayed behind, Carl continued, looking uncomfortable but determined. Said she wanted to network and catch up with people. I was cleaning up around 10 when she found me by the pavilion. She was drunk. Not falling down drunk, but definitely past her limit. He'd paused then, choosing his words carefully. She started talking about how you'd changed, how you used to be more adventurous, more spontaneous, said you'd become predictable, that you went through the motions like you were following a wiring diagram. The analogy stung because it was probably accurate. After 32 years in the electrical trade, I did approach most problems systematically. Test the obvious solutions first, then work through the system methodically until you find the fault. Apparently, that made me boring. Then what happened? I'd asked, though part of me already knew. She got close, Carl said. Put her hand on my chest and said she missed being with someone who actually wanted her physically. Before I could react, she kissed me. Full-on kissed me. He'd looked genuinely distressed. I pushed her back immediately, told her she was drunk and needed to go home. She laughed it off, said I was being uptight just like you. Then she tried again? I'd asked. Said we should get a hotel room, that you'd never find out because you were always too busy with work to pay attention to what she was doing. I told her absolutely not, that she was married to my best friend and this wasn't happening under any circumstances. The rejection hadn't gone well. Diane had gotten angry, called Carl boring and predictable, then walked away like nothing had happened. The next time Carl saw her at our Labor Day barbecue, she'd acted perfectly normal, friendly, charming, asking about his wife and kids like a model hostess. That's when I knew it wasn't just alcohol, Carl had said. She was calculating, testing boundaries. When I didn't bite, she just moved on like it never happened. After that conversation, I'd started keeping detailed records. Not illegally, not with hidden cameras spying on her, but simply documenting my own experiences in my own home. Me talking to my phone's voice recorder about what happened each day. Her dismissals, her coldness, the night she pushed me away physically, the moments she spoke to me with obvious disgust. 28 recordings in total, each one time-stamped and saved securely. Each one showing a man slowly realizing his marriage was already over and had been for years. The recordings painted a picture of systematic emotional withdrawal. Diane scheduling client dinners 3 nights a week. Diane working late in her home office with the door closed, refusing to be interrupted. Diane sleeping in the guest bedroom because my snoring bothered her. All of it building to that final moment in the kitchen when she pushed my hand away and told me she hated me. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a text from Kevin, our son. Dad, Mom says you left for a job out of state without telling her. She seems really upset. Everything okay? So that was the story Diane was already spinning. An unannounced work trip. Inconsiderate husband who couldn't communicate properly. Typical blue-collar guy behavior. I typed back carefully, protecting Kevin from the worst of it. Everything's fine, son. Just needed some space to think things through. How's the apprenticeship going? Kevin was 26, working as an electrical apprentice with a different contractor than my company. Smart kid, good with his hands, patient with complex problems. He'd inherited the best parts of both his parents, my methodical approach to problem solving and Diane's ability to read people and situations quickly. Going good, he texted back. Finished the warehouse project in Akron last week, starting on a new office building Monday. Mom seems really worried, though. She called me 3 times yesterday. 3 times. Diane never called Kevin 3 times about anything unless it affected her directly. She was starting to panic, realizing that her carefully controlled narrative might be falling apart. The law firm of Foster & Associates occupied the 3rd floor of a modest office building in downtown Cleveland. I'd chosen them extremely carefully after 3 months of thorough research, the same way I'd research electrical contractors for a major commercial project. Alan Foster was known for 2 things: absolute discretion and winning cases nobody thought could be won. He was waiting when I arrived at 8 o'clock in the morning, mid-50s, gray hair, wearing a suit that looked professional but not flashy. The kind of lawyer who got results through preparation and strategy rather than dramatic courtroom theatrics. We shook hands, and he gestured to a chair across from his desk. "Mr. Sullivan," Foster said, opening a folder that contained documents I'd sent him. "I've reviewed the preliminary materials you provided. Very thorough documentation." He pulled out a summary sheet. 32 years in the electrical trade teaches you to document everything," I replied. "Every job, every material cost, every hour worked. Otherwise, you get burned." Foster smiled slightly. "Your wife is Diane Sullivan, Regional Sales Director at Premier Insurance. Very successful, very connected in Cleveland's business community. She knows judges, court clerks, other attorneys. This won't be simple." "I'm not looking for simple," I told him. "I'm looking for complete protection." Foster pulled out the financial documents I'd provided, the hidden account, $87,000 across 7 years. "How did you obtain these statements, Mina?" he asked. "And more importantly, can we use them legally?" "I have my methods," I said. She opened this account using our joint tax returns as income verification. That makes it discoverable in divorce proceedings. She also used our shared home address, which means it's marital property she deliberately concealed. Foster leaned back in his leather chair, studying me carefully. "Mr. Sullivan, I need to ask directly, what's your end game here?" I'd been expecting this question. Every good contractor asks about the end goal before starting a project. "Asset protection, full separation, and walking away with my dignity intact," I said simply. "Diane's been preparing to leave me for 7 years. That account proves it. I just got started first." Foster made notes on a yellow legal pad. "What about your son?" "Kevin's 26, working as an electrical apprentice. He's an adult. I won't use him as leverage, and I won't let her use him either." "Good," Foster said. "Family courts hate parents who weaponize children." He flipped through more documents. "This friend of yours, Carl Nelson, willing to testify about the attempted seduction?" "Under oath, if necessary." "He's already given me a written statement. And these recordings, 28 audio files of you documenting the marriage's deterioration. That's unusual, but potentially powerful. They show a pattern of emotional withdrawal on her part." Foster closed the folder and looked at me directly. "I'll be completely honest, Mr. Sullivan. Your wife will come at this extremely hard. She knows the system intimately, knows the judges personally, knows exactly how to paint narratives that destroy men. She'll claim emotional abuse, financial control, maybe even that you're mentally unstable." "Let her try," I said. "I have documentation that says otherwise." "Good, because the moment she realizes you're completely serious, she'll go absolutely nuclear." The next morning I was having coffee 3 blocks from Diane's office when Foster texted me. "Done." 10:47 a.m. The process server had just handed Diane her divorce papers in front of her colleagues at Premier Insurance. I imagined her face, the shock turning rapidly to rage, her carefully maintained professional control shattering publicly. My phone exploded with Diane's calls, 6 calls in 4 minutes, followed by a barrage of texts. "You served me at work? At work? Everyone saw. My entire team saw. How dare you humiliate me like this? Call me immediately." The humiliation was completely intentional. Diane had always told me that business was about perception and power. I'd learned from watching her work. She'd fired underperforming agents publicly, canceled policies in front of business owners' employees, used shame as a strategic tool. Now she was experiencing it firsthand. My phone rang again. Brad Cooper, her sales manager, and the one she'd been having suspiciously frequent client dinners with. I answered on the third ring. Roy Sullivan. Roy, it's Brad Cooper. Diane just received some documents and she's quite upset. Perhaps we could discuss this rationally, work something out. There's nothing to discuss, Brad. Those documents are perfectly clear. Asset separation, restraining orders on joint accounts, formal notification of intent to dissolve the marriage. Serving her at work was unnecessarily cruel, Brad said, his voice tightening. Was it? I asked. She's canceled plenty of policies at people's workplaces over the years. She told me it was strategic. Hit them where it hurts most, where they care about their reputation. Silence on the line. Then Brad's voice hardened noticeably. Diane has substantial resources and connections throughout Cleveland's business community. You're making a serious mistake threatening her. We? I let the word hang deliberately. Why would her sales manager be threatening me personally, unless there's something more going on between you two? I don't know what you're insinuating, Brad said defensively. Don't you? I replied calmly. I have documentation, Brad, expense reports. 18 dinner receipts over 20 months, all charged to the company account. Hotel rooms in Toledo, Columbus, Cincinnati, always booked when you two were at insurance conventions. The silence stretched uncomfortably long. Ask Diane if I'm the type to bluff, I said. 32 years troubleshooting complex systems taught me to gather irrefutable evidence before making any claims. Then I hung up. 2 weeks later, Carl Nelson sat across from me at a downtown bar, nursing a beer and looking distinctly uncomfortable. You really need me to do this? He asked. Put it all in writing formally, testify if it goes to court? I need the truth documented, Carl, I explained. What Diane did at that picnic matters legally. It shows a pattern of behavior, proves she was already checked out of the marriage emotionally 2 years ago. He nodded slowly and took a long pull from his beer. All right, I'll do it. She was drunk, but not falling down drunk. Started talking about how you'd changed, how you used to be more spontaneous. Carl's face tightened with the memory. Then she got physical. Put her hand on my chest, kissed me before I could stop her. The final hearing was scheduled for a Wednesday morning in late September, 7 months after I'd walked out. 7 months of legal battles, discovery fights, and Diane's increasingly desperate attempts to control the narrative. Foster met me outside the courthouse carrying 2 briefcases, looking confident but focused. She wants to settle, he told me. Brad Cooper called this morning. They're willing to negotiate before we go in front of Judge Martinez. What are they offering? I asked, though I suspected I already knew. She keeps the house, you keep your business and tools. Assets split 50-50. She drops all claims of financial abuse if you drop Carl's testimony and your recordings. No, I said firmly. Foster smiled. I told him you'd say that. Here's our counter. You keep your business, your truck, your retirement account, and your tools. She keeps her hidden account, all $87,000, and her sales career. But she admits to hiding the money in writing and doesn't contest the divorce publicly. She'll never agree, I said. Let's find out, Foster replied. Inside the courthouse, Diane sat with her lawyer, looking tired and somehow smaller than I remembered. 7 months of fighting had worn her down, stripped away the polished professional facade. When our eyes met briefly, hers were full of fury and something else, genuine fear. Judge Martinez called us into her chambers for preliminary discussion. I understand there's a settlement proposal on the table, she said, reviewing the files. Foster laid out our terms clearly while Diane's lawyer took notes. When he finished, there was a long silence. Diane looked at me, really looked at me for the first time in months, maybe years. I could see her doing the calculations, weighing her options like she would with a complex insurance policy. Finally, she spoke quietly. The recordings stay sealed. They don't become public record. Agreed, I said. But you sign a statement acknowledging the hidden accounts and admitting you never disclosed them during the marriage. Diane's jaw tightened visibly. That damages my professional reputation. You damaged it yourself when you hid the money for 7 years, I replied calmly. And when you tried to seduce my best friend, and when you had those 18 dinner meetings with Brad Cooper. Judge Martinez intervened. Mrs. Sullivan, Mr. Sullivan is being extremely generous given the evidence. If this goes to trial, The outcome could be far worse for you professionally." The silence stretched uncomfortably. Diane looked at her lawyer, who nodded slightly. Then she looked back at me with something that might have been respect, or maybe just resignation. "Fine," she said quietly. "I'll sign." The paperwork took 3 hours. Lawyers drafting agreements, terms being negotiated, signatures being witnessed and notarized. By mid-afternoon, it was done. 28 years of marriage dissolved into legal documents and property divisions. Outside the courthouse, Diane stopped me one last time. "Roy, wait, please." I turned but didn't move closer. "I never meant for it to end like this," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "You didn't mean to lose," I replied. "That's different." She flinched visibly. "I wasn't always like this. I used to love you." "Maybe," I acknowledged. "But you stopped a long time ago and you didn't have the courage to tell me. You just waited for me to figure it out while you secretly prepared your exit strategy." "You pushed me away too," she said, voice rising slightly. "You were always working, always focused on electrical jobs and contracts. I felt ignored." "I was working to build a life for us," I said. "And while I did that, you were hiding money and having dinner meetings with Brad Cooper. So don't blame me for your choices, Diane. You made them." 8 months later, I stood in a bookstore in downtown Cleveland, looking at a display of new releases. My book, The Silent Exit, When Walking Away Saves Your Life, sat prominently on the featured shelf. A memoir about recognizing emotional withdrawal, strategic departure, and reclaiming dignity after years of being dismissed. My phone buzzed. Kevin sending a photo of himself holding my book at a construction site. "Proud of you, Dad. Proud you told your truth." The book had been therapeutic to write, laying out the entire story without using real names. How to recognize when a marriage is fundamentally broken. How to protect yourself legally and financially. How to document everything methodically. How to leave with dignity intact. Early reviews were overwhelmingly positive. Men reached out constantly, thanking me, saying they'd felt the same coldness and dismissal but thought they were going crazy. I heard through mutual friends that Diane had left Cleveland, taken a position with an insurance company in Phoenix, starting over where people didn't know her history. I rebuilt completely. New apartment with modern electrical throughout, new routines, genuine peace for the first time in years. Carl stopped by regularly with beer and updates. "Your book's selling really well," he said one evening. Diane contacted my wife, asked her to convince me to stop promoting it. "What did you tell her?" I asked. "That the truth isn't negotiable. She made her choices, now she lives with them." We clinked bottles and I looked around my living room. My space, my life, my future finally belonged to me again. Diane taught me a lot over 28 years, how to be patient and loyal and hopeful about people. But walking away from her taught me something infinitely more valuable: how to recognize when loyalty becomes self-destruction. How to protect yourself when the person who promised to protect you stops caring if you exist. Most importantly, I learned that sometimes the strongest thing you can do isn't fighting to save something that's already broken. It's having the courage to walk away and build something better. When you've spent decades troubleshooting other people's problems, you eventually learn the hardest truth. Some circuits can't be repaired, only replaced.